Hi, everyone. Thank you for being here. I know it's afternoon and last day, but I hope we have a fun conversation. My name is Nico Fara. I am an engineer and also retail tech entrepreneur. Today I want to talk about commerce, shopping, and all ways we can bring people on board using these technologies. So I have been building retail tech businesses and both B2C and B2B. But at the end of the day, we always have to be concerned about the end users. So my passion always has been figure out how we can enhance these technologies to solve for the end users' problems. And the current consumers have a lot higher expectations, anywhere from interactivity to experiences. They're more and more willing to pay for experiences rather than tangible goods. And they want entertainment involved in everything. So we have heard from different talks that these are elements that we need to include in our products or services. And personalization is important. We heard from Perfect Corp how they are personalizing beauty, so many other technologies that are helping us to personalize and basically just provide products and services that are tailored to the needs and wants of the customer. And then there is sustainability need. More and more consumers are getting conscious about our impact on the environment. And so when we are creating any type of product or service, we need to keep all of these in mind. Efficiency is the obvious one. We all want to save time and money. And then inclusivity, we see like some businesses that didn't include people, like Victoria's Secret, they went bankrupt, those type of businesses that just tailor to one specific type of audience, they're excluding others. They're not going to succeed moving forward. And then there is the element of community. We have to make sure that our end users are feeling heard and seen. We heard from Cynthia Muller, my amazing friend, about EQ and how important it is to make people convince themselves rather than us trying to convince them as we are offering a product or service. The users, especially Gen Z, Gen Alpha, they're looking for two-way communication. They want to see transparency. They're no longer looking for, like a surprise. They want to be part of the narrative as we create a product or service for them. And we were giving them like the physical stores where they were social and immersive. You could explore different products, but they're obviously not efficient. Then we had internet and e-commerce where we had efficiency, but then we took out the elements of immersiveness and social shopping. So we were buying clothes or furniture the way we are buying for books, which obviously doesn't make sense. And then we introduced social media. Then we had the efficiency. We had the social proof elements, seeing what our friends are buying. We saw how celebrities are purchasing, and then that element was there, but then still 2D, still not as immersive. Again, same problems with fashion, furniture, those type of products, doesn't make sense. So we all believe that Metaverse is the way to go. We have heard several conversations about that, and that's a technology moving forward. And as we talk to various brands, especially in the fashion industry, beauty industry, where end users have higher expectations, we see that the visuals are so important. So if we can provide them options to see hyper-realistic visuals and have more immersive experiences, they're going to be more willing to spend more time and hopefully shop more. We also see that they can come with their friends and family, so that social shopping element is there. You have best of both worlds, then having the efficiency of e-commerce tied to the immersiveness of physical store, and then also providing new tools for branding and marketing to engage customers more. Now, we see a lot of brands are choosing to go with events because that's lower hanging fruit for them. They can drive engagement and a hype around an event, and they also don't have to pay as much for processing power to keep it up all times. And we see like bigger stores are usually going for more evergreen type of solutions. The gamification is very important because people have to have a reason to spend time in those environments, and content and quality are very important. One reason that we see a lot of these metaverse for alls are not working or they're not seeing as much traffic is because they do not have as much content. They don't give people enough reasons to come back to those places. And also they usually don't have a niche, so the quality that they created doesn't apply to all users or all type of industries. So the content is still a very crucial component of Web 3.0, and that's something that brands are also kind of struggling with it. So when I started in this space, I expected that we just create a technology and we sell the technology and it will be easy. But the reality was that these businesses and brands do not have the information. They don't know what to do with these tools. So they rely on us to be creative, to give them ideas and come up with type of new ways of storytelling that they're not used to. But it's also very efficient in terms of like the advertising. The traditional social media ways are very inefficient, saturated, and they're not seeing as much ROI in it. A very strong use case of all these technologies is fashion. One reason to that being that everyone on earth touches fashion, and so one way to really onboard masses to use these technologies, whether it's going to be AR, VR, Metaverse, or crypto, it's all, in my opinion, through fashion. And it also solves for a lot of challenges that the fashion industry had for so long. It's a very unsustainable business. They cause a lot of pollution. And also it's not very inclusive, it's not very democratized. For all of those reasons, we need to kind of change that narrative and use these technologies. But more specifically for the immersive experiences, we see that there's a high adoption in the bigger luxury brands, especially because that immersive experience is very important when you're buying a fashion item. And then digital fashion itself, we again heard from Fabricant, they're doing amazing stuff, and there are so many other small and big players in the digital fashion space that are really solving for a lot of challenges in the fashion industry, and it just has no limits, and it's one of the most exciting part of the applications of these experiences. The other industry that is also very interesting is dining. It's also a very social experience. We all go with our friends, family, colleagues or to have food together. So that social element is there. It's also an immersive experience. And then visuals are the big part of that experience. So for all those reasons, dining is a great use case for Metaverse and Commerce 3.0. And then we have gifting. We usually gift someone and we exchange some sort of sentimental value. So why not providing that into these immersive experiences instead of just giving them a tangible good, where we can create a memory together in a very beautiful, immersive way. So with all of these technologies, we are covering a majority of those type of needs and wants of the current consumers. We make all these interactive experiences, we're making it fun, it's personalized, brands can see all the data of their users and be able to iterate quickly. Now with these digital environments, it's also sustainable and efficient. However, we have to come up with some other ways to provide the community part, to provide the inclusivity part. And the solution to that is around community management and creation. So I know Web3 is a very sensitive topic, and people have different perspectives, especially with all the news recently. But I think, like any other technology, there is good and bad to everything, and there are always bad actors that will, abuse this type of technologies. When I got introduced to Web3, what resonated the most was this type of connection that you can have with people. The ethos of Web3 are very powerful. The transparency element, the empowerment, the ownership. These are, topics and ideas that we haven't seen as much in Web2. And that's why we see such a strong community building around Web3 projects. And as we are using these immersive experiences, one way that brands are engaging younger generation or just existing audience is through utilizing these tools. So you might have heard of Discord, which came from the gaming industry. It was a place where gamers were interacting, communicating, and engaging with each other. And then Twitter Spaces, it was kind of a replicate of Clubhouse. And they try to kind of make it even better and more engaging. And those are the places that most of these Web3 communities have been built. Most recently, we have seen some of big brands also started utilizing these tools to onboard new audience and also empower the existing audience. So Gucci, Givenchy, they are all examples of utilizing these technologies for community building. And one strong way of community building is around DAOs. Now, there's, again, so many types of DAOs, and there have been good and bad. I'm just going to give a high-level overview of what DAOs are and give a couple of examples. But DAOs are basically decentralized autonomous organizations. These type of definitions, like Metaverse, there are so many ways you can think of it, and people have their own interpretation of each. By decentralization, it's mostly about bottom-up approach. It's about distributed power. And it doesn't mean flat organization. I think of all of these things as a spectrum. So you can be fully flat, or you can have just small engagement of your community. But it's up to you as a founder or creator of this community to decide where you want to be in this spectrum, and then you can move left or right based on your goals. And then the autonomous part is about using these technologies to make it more efficient. So we will set some rules and guidelines, and that would be through a core team that initiates or finds this organization, and then we use these smart contracts and some sort of technologies that, it doesn't have to be all on chain at all. It's just an idea, again, that you can use as much as you want. It's a spectrum. And make it more efficient, because traditionally most of the communities we have been part of, or nonprofits, or even corporates, a lot of work has been done by a group of people. It wasn't really distributed. So the decentralization or distribution is not just about the power and decision making. It's also about economy. It's about culture. There are so many different aspects that you can use this concept. Again, it's up to you. How do you want to interpret it, and how you want to use it in your own use case. And the organization part is pretty clear. It's about bringing members and resources to achieve a shared purpose. So this group that you are bringing together, they have to have some sort of common values and vision and mission. And then you can use it for many different purposes and many different industries. People usually think of DAOs, they think of investment DAOs, because those were one of the early ones. So some people, a group of people will come together, they all put the money down or buy into the token, and then they go invest in certain areas. There are also charity DAOs, there are also social DAOs, you can connect with other people. The DAO that I founded is called the Fashion DAO. We are looking to empower Web3 fashion designers, so digital fashion designers, phygital fashion designers, and experts. We connect them to bigger brands. They don't want to directly work for the bigger brands. We are all moving towards a creative economy. So they want to stay independent. They want to work together still. And we kind of empower them and facilitate this type of relationships. We also help fashion brands to get into space, and also NFT projects, Web3 projects to have fashion utility. We help gaming industry to have more fashion representation and expression. So there's so many different use cases, and that's the beauty of DAOs. It's still being developed, it's still being defined. So it's kind of like you're writing the history. So I highly encourage you guys to explore utilizing these technologies and kind of taking the burden off of your shoulders. It could apply to so many things, even like the chapters of AR, VR, or this type of conferences that are being developed, or a group of colleagues that they want to do a project together. Like these technologies, again, it's really up to you how far you want to go with using them. But on the brand side and consumer side, it would be about making the consumers feel heard, and they're no longer just a consumer. They can be a user, they can be a creator, and be part of the narrative, and then they can be an extension of your team. Then, you know, maybe you don't have to pay them directly, but they can basically help you make better decisions, make decisions that will benefit your profit and also make them happy. So there's a lot of value into incorporating this into businesses. This is it. Thank you so much. I would love to answer any question if you guys have. Good. Thank you so much. Oh, yes. The question is what blockchain we are using. This is the beauty of DAOs again. You don't have to use a blockchain if you don't want to. We actually took our time to really explore what we want to do, what we want to use, and because the tokenomics is something that if you do it wrong, then it's hard to change it. So far we haven't even been on chain. And I really believe in Web 2.5, so like getting the best of corporate industries that have been built over many years, and then learning from the ethos of Web 3 and combining both sides. But yeah, I mean, blockchain, in terms of like the metaverses that we create, we always make it like cross-chain, because that's the future. We shouldn't be limiting ourselves to one chain. Thank you. Thank you.